because they were like, all of these seemingly normal families, like the dads just keep losing it and killing everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always a note left, and it's like in code, but then it's signed Longlegs. So they're like, this is clearly some kind of serial killer thing, but there's no forced entry. We can't find any evidence of anyone coming in the house.
Yeah.
So that's why. And me and Colin were like, that was just weird. Like, we didn't get it. We were like, why did he do this? So I actually saw a video about, the director did an interview, and he was saying that the inspiration actually came from the JonBenet Ramsey case. Because the night before she died, you know, it was like around Christmas, and her family had gotten her this life-size replica doll of herself, and then the next day she was dead. And you know, the whole thing is, we can't figure out how anyone did it. There's no forced entry.
Yeah.
We don't know how this happened. And when investigators came in, the doll was like laying in the box like a coffin.
Oh.
So very weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, the cinematography is beautiful. It's shot so well, and it's just, and I knew going into it, it's a very slow burn, and the whole majority of the movie you have no clue what's going on. Like, you're trying to figure it out with her, and then at the end, the mom is the one who reveals everything.
Yeah.
So basically, once the daughter finds out all this happening, her partner at work, his daughter is about to have a birthday, and so she figures all this out. She's at her childhood home. Her mom like blew the head off of her daughter's doll, off of Lee's doll, to try to free her. And then she gets a call, and it's this eerie voice being like, "You're gonna miss Ruby's 9th birthday." Ruby is the other investigator's daughter.
Oh.
So she rushes over to the house, and her mom is already there with the doll, so she knows it's too late.
Yeah.
And then the lead investigator, of course, gets possessed, kills his wife, and Lee kills him before he can kill the daughter.
Yeah.
And then Lee kills her mom. And I feel like they kind of set it up for a sequel. I don't think they should do a sequel. I think sequels ruin movies most of the time.
I was gonna say, but that's kind of the.
But this is the same director, or no, this isn't the same director. Never mind. I was gonna say this is the same director that did Annihilation, but that's not true. That's the same director that did Civil War. I was gonna say I don't feel like he's a sequels guy, but I don't know this director very well, so he might. I don't think they should though.
Yeah.
You got all the hype from this movie.
Oh, it's a road.
Oh. And even though people are saying like, "Oh, I was disappointed it wasn't that scary," they still made 20 million opening weekend.
Yeah.
Like, it did what needed to be done.
Yeah.
I just think you need to do research on the movies you're going to see. Either that, or if you are going into a movie blindly, don't have expectations.
Yeah. Well, and that's the whole part of not reading reviews and researching it, is so you can form your own opinion. But
the people that I'm seeing leaving bad reviews are people that I can tell like more movies like The Nun, or like cheap horror movies where you want to be like jump scared.
Yeah.
This movie and I remember seeing this a lot, it gets under your skin, and that is so true. I sat in the theater the whole time like looking behind my back. Like it makes you feel gross. Like when you see like bugs and you feel like stuff's like on your back, that's how it feels. There is a couple like gory scenes. Like there's one where they go to investigate a family, but the family was supposed to be going to Disney, so no one checked on them. So they were rotting in the house for a month. And you like see one of the parents, and it's really bad.
Yeah.
And then like once Longlegs gets arrested, he finally talks to Lee, but you know, he's speaking in code. Nothing he's saying makes any sense. And he's like, "Oh, the man downstairs," which is, it ends up being a double entendre for like Satan, but also him, because we find out he lived in the basement of Lee's house this whole time.
Oh.
And there was like a locked room that led to the basement. She was never allowed to go in there. That's why, because he was down there making the dolls. So then he just says like, "Hail Satan," and then he kills himself. But he killed himself by repeatedly smashing his face into the like investigation table until like his face is all bloody and his nose is broken, and it's just like awful. But I prefer horror like that, kind of like how in Hereditary you know how in the end the mom goes kind of crazy and she starts like doing all these weird movements and like smashing her head on the attic ceiling. I like horror like that because it's just disturbing. It's not like, oh, you know, like jump scare.
Yeah,
it's
like
more
the
like
kind that sticks in your head.
Yeah, it's like you want to look away.
Yeah.
Like it's sickening. It's gross. So I still say it was. I mean, the year isn't over, but I would put it top 5 movies of the year. Honestly, I think Civil War is still my favorite movie of the year, and I know people hated that movie, but I really liked it.
Still waiting on them to release it, so you don't have to pay to watch it.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought that was a great movie. That's another one where it's like it's a slow burn, but and there is like I feel like movies like that aren't supposed to be horror movies are good for jump scares. Like you have one where a gun goes off and it got me and Katie so bad Katie spilled popcorn everywhere. Like that, I like that in those kinds of movies because it's kind of like a tension breaker. I like really anxiety-inducing films, which is funny to be someone who has so much anxiety.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like the whole Uncut Gems thing, where it all builds up to this big moment.
Yeah.